stream it at a certain time. So I'm a little anxious, and that's normal because I wrote a book on being anxious, so it just makes sense. I want to thank all of my friends, my coworkers, my family, my biological family, my Jewish family, and my tribe. So basically everyone that's in this room, I've either worked with you, I've either coached you, we're either friends, either we fought and now we're back to being friends. So this is like a whole lot of love in one room, and it's tough because this was not an easy book to write. So people ask me why I started this book. It started on Instagram, and we were away in Hawaii with my Miami boys, and I was telling them that I wanted to quit my corporate job, and I wanted to do something that was meaningful and that would be relevant in this day and age. So I decided that I was going to coach full-time, and one of my friends told me that I should write a book on Instagram. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. He said, well, no one's done it. And I said, done. If no one's done it, I want it. So he gave me the idea. He let me have it. So September of last year, I did my first post. And in anything in life, you just throw something against the wall and hopefully it sticks. I now have 11.5 thousand followers, and it's a book. Not even my hot girls are on there. It's just words. So that means people are reading this. And I wanted to write the book because anxiety sucks, and it really robbed me of a lot of my life when I was younger. And an anxiety, people always ask me, what does anxiety feel like? And it gets misused. So people say, oh my God, I'm gonna have a panic attack. No. If you're having a panic attack, you will know, because your ass will be in a hospital, on the floor, or in the bathroom. So I feel that society has mistreated the word, and then people don't give value to those that actually suffer. So anxiety feels like you're going in a roller coaster and you're ticking up, and some people love this feeling, but you tick up and you don't actually get over. So you're stuck in this roller coaster and all you want to do is jump out, and you can't. And then you start to vomit, and then you convulse, and a whole other shitload of things happen, and it's frightening and you can't stop it. So I decided when I was younger that this was normal, that everyone lived like this. I had no idea that this was a mental illness and that people suffer from it. So, I always say life is a gift. It's a beautiful gift, and it's one I didn't want anymore. So I called my sister. And I told her, I can't live like this. And she said, well, let's get you help. And I said, okay. So I went to a ton of psychiatrists, and one told me I was a lesbian. One told me, no, I swear. I think my mom was with me. One told me to quit college. The other one told me to smoke weed. All things that were not going to help me in life. So after my sister and I had talked to a million people, I wasn't getting the help that I needed, and that's what's wrong with healthcare today. Because you get diagnosed, or you go to someone who doesn't understand what your real illness is or what your sickness is, and then they open up the DSM-5 and tell you that you're schizophrenic or that you're bipolar or have mood swings. So it wasn't the help that I needed, and this was back in 1995, before social media, before Facebook. So one night I was up late and there was an infomercial. You can answer that. Is that Sex in the City? It is. So it's a Carrie Bradshaw moment, okay? So I saw this infomercial, and for those of you that are my age, it was like, do you suffer from X, Y, Z? And I said, oh my God, this is what I have. It's anxiety disorder. Someone put a name to it. So I ran into my parents' room and I was like, I know what I have. And they kicked me out and said that they'll talk to me tomorrow. So I finally started calling people that knew an anxiety specialist. So that's where my journey started. But even the anxiety specialists didn't give me the full toolbox that I needed. They just gave me the knowledge of what it was. And I'm a psych major, so I know what it is. I just need to know how the fuck I'm gonna live with it. Because I went to 4 different colleges. No one does that. But people ask me, if you have severe anxiety disorder, how do you travel? How do you keep quitting jobs? How do you keep moving? And my parents, you can miss my mom. She's tiny, and my dad. So they came to this country at like the age of 18 or something. There she is. And they gave up their entire family. They gave up their lives. They gave up, my mom's one of 9, my dad has like 7, I don't know. So for them to come to this country and for me not to be able to push through was not an option. So if your family gives up everything to do what's right for their children, I was never gonna let anxiety take something from me, and it did. So I decided to fight back, and everything that my anxiety told me not to do, I decided to do that. Hey, you wanna work at a nightclub? Sure, that sounds great. So anything that I put my mind to, I just got through, but I kind of white-knuckled it. And I didn't know about Xanax, and I didn't have medication. So finally, I was watching a movie, my friend Alistair, and we watched Silver Linings Playbook in a movie theater. And there's a moment where Bradley Cooper takes medication, and the moment was an epiphany for me because it means he accepted what he had, and that's what I wasn't willing to do. I didn't want to accept that something was wrong with me because I wanted to seem that I had my shit together and that I was perfect and I was a badass and I could work amongst all the men in nightlife and I was going to be the shortest and the woman that stood out and I didn't have anxiety. But the truth was that I did, and I just didn't want to accept it. So Alistair asked me after the movie, do I know somebody with a mental illness? So I looked at him and I told him I did. And he was one of the first people I think I ever said it out loud to. So that was probably the biggest moment of my life. And then I reached out to some of my best friends and I said, I think I need to go on medication because I can't handle it anymore. And they said, that is totally fine. I don't know why you're not doing it anyway. And it made the conversation open and it made me feel okay to not be perfect and to not be okay because we're living in a really crazy world and I needed to just get through. And one of my best friends said, take it for as long as you need and then get off of it. And that's what I did. So I went on anti-anxiety meds for 4 years. I'm now off of it. I do holistic treatments. I have a team of healers. They're in my book. So I wrote this book for people that were like me, that didn't have somewhere to go or someone to turn to. So the book, on Instagram, I get DMs from kids and parents and boyfriends and girlfriends that just don't know enough about anxiety. And if you don't have it, you won't know it. It's like me trying to tell someone what feeling drunk is like when they've never taken a sip of alcohol. You can't do it, right? So that is why the book has been created. That is why I stand up here and tell the most raw, honest story of my entire life and share it with the entire world. And I get this question a lot. People say, did writing the book help? No. It was awful. It brought back all the old shit. It reminded me of what I put my parents through. And my parents not once ever said to me, you can't do it. They never questioned me. They never made me feel bad, and they still don't. And trust me, I change all the time. And they are so supportive. And my tribe is so supportive, and everybody in this room is so supportive. So this is like as real as it gets. I mean, I can't get any more honest here. So I just wanted to put my voice in a book and help anybody. So whether it's yourself or a friend or a family member, and so far it's been such an amazing ride. And I just want to say that I think that the problem is healthcare. But I think the solution is sharing our stories and sharing our treatments and just having an honest conversation about what you're going through, because there's so many other people that go through the same thing. So thank you so much for coming. And